And there it is. Quicker delivery, and Bertil was on the back foot and forced it down to long on for a single. So over number 1 comes to an end. A successful over by Hodge, and a very good over indeed. Nepal 4-4-1 at the end of the first over. So it looks like Redhead going to pick it up from the northern end. Bowling starting from the southern end in bright sunshine here at Park Hill. No threat whatsoever of rain, and in fact morning being pretty hot, pretty steamy, and the players would have to keep themselves hydrated. So it's going to be Bertil who would take strike. He's marking his guard, and as Melius trying to marshal his forces. So Redhead just from the 30-yard circle. Driven sweetly through covers by Bertil. He likes it coming onto the bat. That was pitched up, and he was in the approved fashion, driving it past extra cover, who just watched it go past him and into the fence for 4. The total now goes on to 8. And Bertil, with that, he goes on to 6. And a good comeback delivery there by Redhead. And you can see Bertil just watching it, judging it, and allowing it to go through to the keeper. Douglas standing back. Good carry to Douglas. Surface has been pretty true, and batters are comfortable driving through the line. And Bertil would like that. And a good delivery inside edge, and they threw for a single out to square leg, tidied up. So he moves on to 7. The total now on to 9. We are in over number 2. So Anil, who is on 1, comes into strike. And that's good delivery. And rising, I think Anil had to pull that hand off, hitting more to the shoulder of the bat. And he's doing some adjustments to his pad, now replacing his mittens. So having been struck for a boundary of the very first delivery of his over, Redhead has come back pretty strongly and just trying to tighten things up. And he's guiding that down to third man. Lewis is down there, Fields, and they threw for a single. The total now goes into double figures. It's on 10 for 1. I think 1 delivery remaining in this over. I'm sure that Redhead would want to finish very strong, and Bertil may have other ideas. He's on 7. With him is Anil, who is on 2. 1 extra, having lost Asif for a duck. And he's forcing that out to extra cover knocked down. Once a single is not there, Descarte knocking it down. So good finish by Redhead over that cost him some 6 runs. And at the end of over number 2, it's 10 for 1. And Hodge would pick it up from the southern end. This will be his second over number 3. So Nepal within the toss and batting here. And Winwards now looking, Hodge doing some adjustments, strengthening that offside. Buttle is driving past extra cover 4 runs. That was tossed up and he drove it. It was intentional in the air between the square cover and extra cover and down to the boundary for 4. Total now on to 14 and he goes on to 11. He's driving down to long on the bounce. Lewis tidies up, gets a single. Total now on to 15. And Bottle, he moves on to 12. So Anil comes into, it was Anil who had that boundary, rather. Bottle down the track, lifts it out to long on. And beautiful piece of work by Lewis long on the long on boundary. They come back for the second. So he has saved himself, saved the team 2 runs. And Hodge now acknowledging the effort there by Lewis. So both batters are on 7. And it's now Bottle who comes into strike. But it comes back into strike. He goes on to 9. The total now on to 17. And dead ball signal there by Bayam. And looking to sweep that. Taking on the pad, half-hearted appeal. No run. Total remains on 17. 17 for 1. We are in over number 3. Hodge dabbles his hand in the dirt. But goes Bertel out to backward point. Milias covering ground to his right. Fields no run. So a dot goes into the scorecard. And he's looking to work that on the onside. Take on the pad. Over comes to an end. Some 7 runs in that over. So 17 for 1 at the end of over number 3. So Hodge finishing his second over. So 2 overs, 1 for 11. Redhead 1 over for 6. And he will pick it up from the northern end. So one noticeable change from the Windward Island Volcanoes is that they have left out one of their faster bowlers and they have included the off spinner. So Lewis makes his way off to get some attention, having made that save on the boundary. And it is driving out through extra cover. Mid off covering grounds very quickly, smartly fields and returns, keeps it down to a single. Total goes on to 18. So Anil with that single, he goes on to 8. And it's Bertel who is on 9. Comes into strike. 18 for 1. We are in over number 4. But he gets a yorker, he digs it out. Once a single is not there, Descarte coming in like a train from that short extra cover position. And a good delivery there by Redhead. And Bottle had to dig it out. Was looking for the drive, it wasn't there. In the end, had to come pretty hard down on it. But he's driving out to mid-off. Once a single, this could be dangerous. And he misses. Had that hit, he certainly would have been walking back to the pavilion. He goes into double figures. He's now 10, the total onto 19. Very risky single there taken by Bortel. But fortunately for him, mid-off had it through and missed. So Anil comes back into strike. He's on 8. Bortel, the non-striker, is on 10. 19 for 1. Still in over number 4. Down the leg side. And perhaps taken on the pad. And there is no run. Lovely sunshine here at Park Hill. Nice cooling breeze blowing through our commentary position. This time he's looking to drive. Aerial shot, clearing defense. It gone all the way. That's 6. Was pitched up, not timing it well, but it has good carry. Still clearing the boundary here by a few meters. So 6 to Anil. He moves on to 14. And the total now on to 25. 25 for 1. Still in over number 4. I guess a Yorker, he takes it out. They go through for 1. The return comes in once more. Knocked down there by Redhead. And they threw for a single again. Very suicidal single, but fortunately he got away with it. So at the end of over number 4, the total 26 for 1. So at the moment they're going at 6.5 runs and over. Winwards would feel very happy with that. And let's see, there is a change in bowling at the southern end. So Hodge has been pulled out of the attack. And Descarte would pick it up from the southern end to bowl over number 5. So Bertil on 10. Anil, he's on 15. He's driving off the outside edge, just short of third man, who knocks it down. He gets a single. And luckily for him, that could have easily be carried into the hands of short third man, just around the 30-yard circle. So Anil getting a single there. He goes on to 16. The total now on to 27. 27 for 1 as Bortil comes back into strike. He's driving square, but there's a sweeper on the boundary. And keeps it down to a single. Total now on to 28. Bertil goes on to 11. Anil, who is on 16, comes back into strike. So there's rotation of the strike here at Park Hill. And that was short, and he bangs. He was using his feet. And he saw it. I saw him advancing, dropped it short, but he got on top of it and hammered it between the backward point and extra cover. And he picked up a boundary. So he's taking the aggression. He's been the aggressor, taking his total, his tally now on to 20, total on to 32. Just fanning at that outside. The off stump misses, taken cleanly by Douglas, standing back. He rehearses the shot. So it's 32 for 1 in over number 5. Shadrach Descarte. And there was Anil just holding up his hand, and Descarte had to abort his run. His drive in the air. This would clear the fence. It does. That's number 6. Pitch top and deliberately lifting it over extra cover. Carrying all the way to the fence for 6. And the total goes on to 38. 38 for 1. Some 12 runs already in this over. With some 2 boundaries. 4 through backward point. Now 6 over extra cover. And again, he's off the outside edge. Down to a wide third man on the boundary. Keeps it down to a single. Total goes on to 39. So Anil goes on to 27. So he's taking the bulk of the deliveries and doing the scoring. Bertil playing the holding role. 27 to Anil, 11 to Bertil. And let's see who is going to pick it up from this the northern end. It appears as if it's going to be Larry Edwards. So Anil and Bertil forging a pretty decent partnership here between these two. Some 37 run partnership. With Anil doing the bulk of the scoring. He has 27. And he'll be on strike as Larry Edwards. From the northern end, he's going to bowl between umpire. It looks like he's going to come between umpire and the stumps. Just doing a little adjustments to his field. He's tipped on the pad. Again, half-hearted appeal. And they're looking to work it on the onside. And there is no run. And he sweeps and into the fence, 1 bounce for 4. And he moves on to 31. 31, the total now on to 43. 43 for 1. We are in over number 6. And immediately we see Captain Milius making some adjustments. And he lifts that high over extra cover. That's gone. That's gone for 6. So again, Anil really being the aggressor. He hustles on to 37. And the total now on to 49. 49 for 1. We are in over number 6. So Larry Edwards being put under early pressure here by Anil. Looks around. And that was a Yorker-led delivery, well bowled. But Anil digs it out. And there is no run. I think he was looking for an aggressive shot. That was right up, faster, flatter, and right up in the block hole. Sweeps again. And this would clear the fence now for 6. And up goes the hand of umpire Butler. So 6 more to Anil, who moves on to 43. The total now on to 55. And Anil decides he's going to take the attack to the bowlers. He's a Bortil who is really a spectator at the other end. As Anil continues to take the attack to the bowler. So Edwards under pressure. He goes back and he works it down to a long on. They hustle for one. They're going to come back for the second. No. It's loud scream and well taken there. Not the best of throw, but there was Douglas climbing, plucking it out of the air. The total goes on to 56. So some 17 or so runs coming in that over. And Edwards first over, an expensive one. And immediately we see Descartes being pulled out of the attack. So at the end of over number 7, 56. 56 for 1. So going at 8 runs and over. And they would want to increase this run rate. And Asif Hooper is going to pick it up from the southern end. So Descartes, given that 1 over, being pulled out of the attack. And Asif Hooper, left arm orthodox, comes in. So it's going to be Anil, who is on 44, to take strike. So Bortil has been away from the strike for some time. Goes back, cuts to backward point, beats him, and that's 4. Short of a length, and he was on the back foot, cutting it past Melius at backward point into defense for 4. He goes on to 48. Total now on to 60. 60 for 1. And we are in over number 8. Hooper between the umpire and the stumps umpire. Byam signaling dead ball. And as they push it out to short extra cover, they go through for a single. Misses. Looking for a second. No, says Bortil. And he goes on to 49. Total now on to 61. 61 for 1. So Bortil, who has been a spectator for some time, he comes in to strike now. Just retaking his guard from umpire Byam. And he goes back, works it out to mid-wicket. He'll get a single. So he moves on to 12. And it's Anil, who is on 49, comes back into strike with a total 62 for 1. Goes back and force it out to extra cover. No run. 62 for 1, the total remains. He's swinging that out too long on. Now comes off the boundary fields, keeps it down to a single. So it's 52 Anil. So a well played 50 as the total goes on to 63. And there is Bortil working it off his pads out to mid-wicket. Gets a single. The total now on to 64. He goes on to 13. But a well played 50 by Anil. So Descartes is going to shift to the northern end. And so over number 8 comes up. How many balls? Yeah, how many balls? So there was Anil, 25 balls for his 50, 4 fours and 4 sixes. So we're in over number 8, just about to start. Descarte, just about marking out his run. Perhaps looking for just scratching at the surface there. So at the end of over number 7, it's 64 for 1. Bertil on strike. And he slaps that over extra cover. And sweeper comes off the boundary, keeps it down to a single. He goes on to 14. Total now on to 65 for 1. So very good partnership here between these two. Some 62 runs. And it is flashing at that outside yard stump, not taken cleanly by the keeper. And they scamper through for a bye. Let's wait. Yes, here comes the signaler from umpire Butler. Total now on to 66. 66 for 1. In over number 8. But he slashes at that over third man and he clears the rope. I think that would be 6. Umpire Butler now signals. So 6 to Bertil. It was outside the awesome, gave him width, and he threw the bat of it. It peeled off the outside edge and flew over third man, clearing the fence. He goes on to 20, and the total now on to 72. 72 for 1. We are in over number 8. So the run rate increasing gradually. And he's whipping that out to mid-wicket. Who fields on the bounce. Edwards was covering grounds, couldn't get there. And Descarte not happy with the effort. But Larry Edwards not going risking himself. And just allowed it to drop in front of him and picked it up on the bounce. The total goes on to 73. And Bertil goes on to 21. So Anil, who is on 50, comes back into strike. And he's whipping that out to square leg. Hodge takes a beautiful catch out on the square leg boundary, diving in front of us right here. And Anil makes his way back. It was whipped off the pads in the air. Hodge judged it well, diving forward and claiming the catch. And he goes back for 50. And the breakthrough that Winwards wanted. It's now 73 for 2. And finally, they have broken that partnership. A very productive one for Nepal between Bertil and Anil. And Descarte now taking the catch, as you can see on the monitor. Yeah, where Hodge judged it well, dived forward and came up with the catch. So he goes back for 50 of some 26 deliveries, hitting some 4 fours and 3 and 4 sixes. And we can see now that's number 17. Rohit Podel, the captain, makes his way out. He has number 17 on the back of his shirt. Podel, the captain. So it's Descarte with some success under his belt. And a good delivery. His defense out to long on. Who they're hustling for one. They're coming back for the second. Lewis comes off the boundary. The return comes in, but they will get too easily, and they do. And at the end of over number 8, it goes on to 75. 75 for 2. As over number 8 comes to an end. So immediately Podel is off the mark. He's on 2. Bertil is on 21. And Hooper will continue from this there. The southern end. Now gives his hat to to umpire Byam. I see they're having a word with his captain Melios. See Douglas just adjusting the field. So Bertel would be on strike. So 85 for 2 at the completion of over number 8. Sweeps very nicely out to square leg. Descarte comes off the boundary. And Fields keeps it down to a single. The total goes on to 76. 76 for 2. And Podell comes in to strike. He's driving out to extra cover. They go through for 1. They'll get it easily. Good judgment of a single. Total goes on to 77. 77 for 2 in over number 9. Again, he sweeps it nicely. This could run away for 4. There's no man that fine leg. It goes across the ropes now. Well played there by Bortel. Just scooping it over to fine leg region and getting himself a boundary. He goes on to 26. And the total now on to 80. 81. 81 for 2. Win over number 9. Bertel is driving out to extra cover, wants a single. A shout of no as Rohit was backing up. And luckily for him, he gets back into his crease. Total remains 81. He's driving beautifully, square of the wicket, 4 runs. You can see it was pitched up and he opened the face of the bat, drove it between the extra cover fielder and the sweeper on the boundary. And he picks up 4. So he's now 85. 85 for 2. And with that boundary, Bertel goes on to 24. Again, he plays it out to short extra cover. They want a single. Larry Edwards was covering ground. Couldn't keep it, couldn't pick it up. Total goes on to 85. So at the end of over number 9, it's 85 for 2. 25 to Bertel. It's Rohit. In fact, it's Rohit on 9 and Bertel on 24. So it's Captain Rohit Padel who will take strike. That's it. You know, he's at the non-strikers end. So Bertel has been there from the inception. Started the innings. But he's still there. He's lifting that out too long off. This would drop inside the boundary and it goes across the ropes. And that's 4. That mid-off being up. Deliberate shot there by Bertel to a delivery that was pitched up. And he moves on to 28. The total now on to 92. He's trying to square the wicket. Long run for the man on the boundary. They will come back for 2. And tidied up there by the fielder. So 2 more to the total. And Bertel trying to being blocked by a tree, not getting his individual scores yet as he's working it out to mid-wicket, who races off the boundary. Larry Edwards picks up, keeps it down to a single. And the total now on to 93. 93 for 2. as Bertil signals to the pavilion for some water. It's a pretty hot day, and Captain Ruit comes back into strike and open the face to backward point. Melius is there, and there is no run. Ruit looks rather busy. He's on 16. And his soft hands out to extra cover, and he gets a single. Total now on to 94. 94 for 2. In fact, Ruit, he moves on to 18 and being blocked a bit by the scorer. But Bertil, who should be on 25, face the final delivery of the 10th over. He advances and lifts it out to mid-off. Long on, the attack is taken. He mistimed it. He was looking to go over mid-off, inside edge. And long on, coming off the boundary, Anthony Lewis took well-judged catch. Bertil goes back. And it's now 94 for 3. And disappointing end there for Bertil. But success for the Winwards. And the Winwards will be very happy. So it's Bertil now making his way back. Earlier we see Asif making his way back to the pavilion. Partnership being broken. So at the completion of over number 9, that should be over number 10, as Jora makes his way out. So Jora joins his captain. So it's going to be Ned. Good ball. He wants a single, but he has scampered back into his crease. So Ned, good start for him. And total remains on 94. We should be in over number 11. So Sandeep Jora joining his captain, Red Padel. Again, there's Yorker and delivery. They go through for a single. Melius picking up, not able to release it. Bubbles out of his hand, and they're through for a quick single. Total goes on to 95. So the single takes Red to 18. Jora comes into strike, takes guard from umpire Byam. And that top edge landing safely. There was Hodge covering grounds. They're coming back for a second, but in the end they got that what looks rather dangerous in the end, getting it comfortably. It was not a good throw from Hodge, who was on the move, and the players batters scamper through for 2. So he's off the mark in Jora. He's on 2. Total now on to 97. 97 for 3. after 10.3 overs. Good delivery, taking on the pad, down to third man. And Byam now signals leg byes. Total on to 98. It's 98 for 3. So Ned wants to make further inroads for the Winwards. And beautifully played, but well fielded by Descartes at fine leg, but that was well played by Roy, the captain. Just swiveled and traveled very quickly, but Descartes was in the right position, picked it up on the bounce. Total remains on 98. So far, a pretty tidy over by Ned. Sure, he'll want to finish very strongly. Okay, gets a Yorker. And there was Roy just digging it out and getting a single out to mid-wicket. And he goes on to 19. The total now on to 99. So at the end of over number 11 in 99 for 3. It's going at 9 runs and over. Let me see Asif Hooper. Change of end. Started out from the southern end. Now he's been shifted to the northern end. And Rohit Patel, captain for Nepal, he's on 19. Jora, who has recently joined him, he's on 2. And it's going to be Rohit Patel on strike. So some players in the distance. There is a long on, a deep mid-wicket, long off, a backward point on the fence. Sweeps by Rohit out to deep mid-wicket. Descartes comes off the boundary, keeps it down to a single. So 100 comes up for Nepal in 11.1 overs. And Rohit goes on to 20. Chora goes back, forces it out to extra cover. There is no run. Quicker delivery. He had to come down pretty quickly on that. Hustled him a bit there. Striving is out caught. You can hear it from here. Driving beautifully taken there by Douglas. And he went up immediately. That was pitched up outside the autumn. He was driving, getting an outside edge. Douglas took it gleefully. And there it is. The disappointment there by Jora as he makes his way back. So he goes back for 2. 100 for 4 here. Nepal batting first here at Park Hill as the players seize the opportunity to refresh themselves. So too the umpires. Pretty hot day here at Park Hill. Bright sunshine. It looks like Colbin makes his way out. To join Captain Padel. So this time a left-hander comes out to do battle. So it's less, so now we have a left-hand right hand combination. And Hooper playing in front of his home crowd. This is his home village. Picking up that scalp in his second spell. And he'll bowl over the wicket to the left-handed Gulshan. Gulshan goes back and Plays it out to backward point, and there was Captain Melius moving smartly to his right. Picks up, keeps it down to no run. And he's forward defensively works it out to short mid-wicket. Hooper moving smartly to his right. Again, keeping it down to no run. So tight over here by Asif Hooper, and a successful one indeed as well. I think just one run coming off the over so far. And he goes back, works it out to square leg. They go through for one. They would settle for that as the total goes on to 101 for 4 at the completion of over number 12. And a good over by Asif Hooper. 2 runs coming in that over, and a wicket as well. And we can see Melius now having a word with Hooper. Perhaps Ned will continue. So there's Gulshan Cheha, who is on 1. He will take strike. And it's going to be Ned. To continue. So Gaishan having taken guard. He's on 1, looks around the field. As Ned skips in. And he's taken on the body. They scamper through for 1. And in the end, good running there by Captain Padel. Just shadowing it, just allowing Ned to go past him. And that was taken under the pad. They scamper through for a leg by. And total now on to 102. 102 for 4. So Ned and now bowl to Captain Rohit Padel. It's down the track, drive square. Hodge, nice piece of work by Hodge, keeps it down to a single. And they're going through for a second. The return comes in, he's out, run out. Not smart cricket there on the part of Gaishan. Looking to steal a single. And just lobbed it to Douglas. And he was run out by some distance. But he lobbed it to Ned the bowler. And he was run out by some distance. So 102 now for 5, 103 for 5 rather. And certainly the win was pulling things back here after a pretty good start by Nepal. And some rebuilding would have to be done on the part of Nepal. This is over number 13. 102 for 5. And let's see who joins his captain. Airy joins his captain. And so Airy in the first game really seeing his team through. Coming in at number 7, played a very good innings indeed. And saw his team home. And seems to favor the ball coming onto the bat. And there's down the leg side. As Padel looking to whip that down the leg side. Misses, wide signal by umpire Bayam. And the total now on to 104. 104 for 5. Over number 13 in progress. In lovely sunshine here at the Park Hill playing field. And not a lot of breeze. He's driving square down to third man. Otney Lewis is there. Picks up. Keeps it down to a single. He goes on to 22, and Airy, who is yet to get off the mark, comes into strike. Now he's looking to take guard from umpire Byam, who's just looking to the pavilion. Now he has given the right away for Airy, who now marks his crease. 105 for 5. As he's driving out to extra cover, beats extra cover, but mid off. Tidies up, keeps it down to a single. The total goes on to 106. 106 for 5. As Captain Padel comes back into strike. So Airy off the mark. Padel on 22. He flashes at that outside the off stump and wide signal by umpire Byam. Total now on to 107. 107 for 5 in over number 13. So a bit of encouragement being given to Ned. And he's looking to run that down to third man. Luckily for him, he didn't get a touch. Douglas takes it cleanly. There was Captain Rohit looking to run that down to third man, and he misses, and Douglas taking it, standing some 15 or so meters back. There is no run. So Ned has been rather tidy in his spell, and he works it out to mid-wicket. Mid-wicket comes off the boundary. Just a single. Total now on to 108. 108 at the end of over number 13. 108 for 5. Good tidy over by Ned, and really keeping the pressure on. As we see Melius having a word with Hooper. Ball being tossed to Hooper, and I think this is a final over for Asif Hooper. Going to see over number 17. Over number 14 to be bowled by Asif Hooper. And Captain Padel, who is on 23, Rohit Padel, will take strike. So Hooper decides to bowl between umpire and the stumps. And he's having a word with Douglas, the keeper. And perhaps Douglas would have observed something, just running down and having a word with the bowler. Again, he's playing it neatly down to fine leg, and they go through for a single. And Redhead was there. Keeps it down to 1, so he goes on to 24. Padel, as Airy comes back into strike. 109. 109 for 5. And he goes back, tucks it down to short fine leg. Again, he scampers through for a single. Redhead moving smartly to his left, fields. Hodge was covering ground, so he's right, backing up. And the total now goes to 110. 110 for 5. We are in over number 14. Sweeping at that, missing, and taken cleanly by Douglas, who removes the bails. But no damage done. So there was a captain essaying a sweep. In, goes back, tucks it out to mid-wicket. They have Scossa for 1. Hooper is there. Keeps it down to a single. And total now on to 111. Nelson, very superstitious number for the English. And 24-25 to Captain Rohit Padel. Airy, who's on 3, guides this out to the sweeper coming off the square cover boundary and keeps it down to a single, so 112. So no boundaries being scored in recent times, and so the Winwards really pulling things back. 112 for 5. This time he's sweeping out to square leg, and Hodge moving smartly wrong, feels the return comes in, and just a single. So the total now on to 113. Very good over indeed, and a good spell by Asif Hooper, and being congratulated there by keeper Dylan Douglas. So at the end of over number 14, it's 113 for 5, and Ned will continue from the southern end. He will bowl number 15. So it's 5 to Airy, 26 to his captain, Rohit Padel. And so it's Nepal having first strike, having won the toss and decided to bat. So Nepal in some pre-practice matches before the World Cup here in the Caribbean. T20 World Cup slated for the 1st to the 29th of June. Some 20 teams will be featured in that competition. In fact, Larry Edwards comes into the attack, and that was played very smartly out to short extra cover, and this scamper through for a single. So Captain Padel rotating the strike. He goes on to 27. And Airy, who is on 5, comes into strike. He cuts and beats backward point. Hodge has some running to do. He can't get there. He goes across the ropes now for 4. And after some time now, a boundary. And the total now on to 118. 118 for 5 in over number 15. Sammy plays it out squared. Melias covering grounds, not picking up cleanly, and they threw for 1. Airy with that single, he goes into double figures. And the total goes on to 119. 119. And that single, Airy, should be on 10. And it's forward defensively. That is lobbed to a short mid-wicket. Had there been a forward short leg, that would have been an easy catch. But in this T20, not afforded that luxury. So Larry Edwards will continue. It's a swinging that out too long on the bounce. A single. And the total now on to 120. 120 for 5. And Captain Padel goes on to 27. I'll wait on the scorer. Airy looking to run that down to third man. Misses, taken cleanly by the keeper, who removes the bails, but the back foot was well grounded. And over number 15 comes to an end. So 28 to Padel, 8 to. Looking at the scoreboard on the far side, 10 to Airy. And it's what? 26 to Captain Padel. So Descartes would pick it up from the northern end. Has some 2 wickets to his credit. So 2 out of the 5 wickets that have fallen. And to Descartes, who is going to pick it up, bowling his right arm medium stuff from the northern end. So it's Captain Rohit Padel. And he works it out to mid-wicket. Lotney Lewis covering grounds, feels well, keeps it down to a single. Return comes in and overthrow there, and they're scampering through. No, I think they were looking for a second, but eventually they were scampering back to their respective creases. In fact, they got 2 runs. And so 2-2 Rohit, who now moves to 28, 122. He's whipping, looking to whip that down the leg side, misses, wide signal by umpire Butler. And the total now on to 123. So 1-2-3 for 5. We're in over number 16. Descartes just losing his line there. And that went down the leg side. Captain Padel must have been disappointed missing that. They can work that out to backward point. They go through for 1. That's all they will be. As the total goes on to 124. 124 for 5. So rotation of the strike. Airy comes back into strike. Sporting number 45 on the back of his shirt. Shadrach Descartes, St. Lucian. In the Winwards Island Volcanoes, get a good delivery take down there. There was an appeal there by Descartes. Good delivery. Maybe an inside edge into the pad. He wanted a single, but it was not there. Descartes was closing in very quickly. And we recognizing the danger. Has very quickly returned to his crease. So 124 for 5. 31 to Captain Rohit. And 10 to Airy. And he's driving that out to wide extra cover. Covers grounds, feels well. Beautiful piece of work on the boundary. And they come back for the second. Total now on to 126. So good piece of work by Long Off on the boundary. 126 for 5. It's working it out to mid-wicket. That would beat Hodge, that 4. Hodge looking to cover some grounds, but that was sweetly timed. And into defense it goes for 4. 130 now for 5. And 130 for 5. We are in over number 16. Airy, who is on 14 according to our scorer, in. And gets a good delivery. Once a single, it's not there. So good finish there by Descartes. 130 for 5 at the end of over number 16. So some 4 overs remaining. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see how Melius use his bowlers in these fading overs. We can see Larry Edwards to continue. He will bowl over number 17. I think there's Kavem Hodge, who still has 2 overs in the bank. There's his Otney Lewis, the off spinner, who has not yet bowled a delivery. So not likely, but still Redhead, who also has 2 overs. So he has options. But it's going to be Captain Rohit Padel to take strike. Larry Edwards is going to be his final over. So Captain would want to push on from here. As Edwards would be between the umpire and the stumps. And he scoops that over fine leg. Long run here for Redhead, who pulls it back inside the boundary. They come back for the second. Once a third, it's not there. And that was Captain there scooping that over short fine leg and getting himself 2. He goes on to 33. The total now went to 132 for 5. We are in over number 17. He swing top edge, that would clear the fence. It does. That's over mid wicket for 6. Sweep shot, and he went high over mid wicket for 6. Total now on to 138. And Captain Padel goes on to 39. 138 for 6. 39 to Padel. 14 to Airy. So there would have to be a replay. Well, the ball has been returned. See, third umpire in Cameron Green making his way out with a box of ball, but that ball has been returned. Umpire Butler was just on the fence there, just checking. So Edwards now picks it up. Throws it out to Butler. In fact, it appears as if there's still a ball to be retrieved. Umpire Butler is there. So too is Descarte. So play has been held up momentarily. Umpire Byam really inspecting the ball. He's satisfied with the condition. Now tosses it to Larry Edwards. So play will resume after a short break. 39 to Padel, 14 to Airy. So a good partnership building here between these two. And Larry Edwards will continue. Padel looking to take the aggression to the bowler. Looking to take that attack. Again, he's looking to scoop that take near the chest. There's Douglas. And he gets a single. He goes on to 40. At Douglas standing up. Reaction time there. Very, very limited. And so he goes on to 40. So Larry Edwards, he would now bowl 2. Airy. He's driving, beats extra cover and down to defense for 4. It was short, it was wide, it gave him the room, the width to free his arms, and he banged it past Asif Hooper at short extra cover and down to the boundary for 4. The total now on to 143 for 5. And he's slapping that over long on for 6. A good over here for Nepal. Already there are 2 6s in the over, a 4. Already I think some 18 or 19 runs some scored off the over. 149 for 5, over number 17. I think there's a final delivery for Larry Edwards in his spell. Previous game had 3 for 20 off his spell. And he's driving. Asif Hooper covering grounds, knocks it down at extra cover. They're coming back for the second. And they will get it easily. And so good aggressive running on the part of Nepal. And the over comes to an end. It's now 151 for 5 at the end of over number 17. And let's see who's going to pick it up from the northern end. Looks like Ned. So it's going to be Ned to pick it up from the northern end. He's there with his captain Melios, trying to decide on his field. And it's going to be the captain, Padel, to take strike. He's on 40. 26 to Airy. So Darren Ned, right arm, fast medium. He's slapping that pass backward point. This would go across the ropes. It does. Well played there by Captain Padel. The total goes on to 155. He moves on to 44. And he inspects his bat immediately when that was struck. But he's picked up a boundary of the very first delivery. So putting pressure on the bowler very early in the over. So he had some width outside the off stump. Ned would want to correct that. And again he opens up and guides it down to third man. They go through for one. They will come back for the second and they will get that comfortably. And total now on to 157. Padel goes on to 46. Seem to favor that offside. He opens up and open the face of the bat and running it down to wide third man. So 157 for 5. And he's driving again out between the backward point and the wide third man. They come back for the second. The return comes in. Another good one. And 2 more to the captain. He goes on to 48. 159. Looking to be very aggressive. The running between the wickets has been very, very good indeed. So 48 to Padel. Areas on 26. 159 for 5. We are in over number 18. So 2 overs remaining. He's looking to scoop that over third man. Misses, taken cleanly by Douglas standing back. And there is no run. So a precious dot goes into the scorebook. 159 for 5. Again, he opens up. Good piece of work on the third man boundary and keeps it down to a single. Larry Edwards on the third man boundary, diving effort. And you can hear the shouts of congratulations. 160 now for 5. I think so, with 1 delivery remaining in this, the 18th over. As Airy comes in to strike. He bowled him! Off stump, cartwheeling out of the ground. Yorker length delivery, Airy FC in a big drive, misses, and the off stump went walking. Success that the win was needed at this stage. breaking that partnership. Airy makes his way back for a good supporting innings here to his captain. And Nepal now 160 for 6. 160 for 6. Captain Padel is still there. And Sampal Kami making his way out to join his captain, going in at number 8. So Sampal joining his captain. His captain is on 49. Sampal would not have strike. And it's going to be Redhead with the penultimate over. And he will be bowling to Captain Rohit Padel, who surveys the field. Let's see, there is a man on the fine leg boundary. Third man inside the 30-yard circle. Backward point. Extra cover. Sweeper. And he's driving down to third man. Anthony Lewis getting his big frame behind it. Keeps it down to a single, so 52 Padel. And he will give you the stats in a minute. As Sampal will take his first delivery. So here comes Redhead. Yorker length digs it out, not able to stop it in his follow through, and they scamper through for 1. And the total goes on to 162. So good delivery there by Redhead, right up in the block hole. And Sampal had to dig it out. So 162 for 6. He's looking to swing. That beats the keeper down to the boundary. That's 4 wides. I would think, yes, the wide come signal here by umpire Bayam. So 5 runs added to the total, 167. So there is Padel 50 coming in of 35 deliveries, 4 fours and 1 6 in his half century. So Redhead wants to tighten up. 167 for 6. And he's driving out too long off it, over the fence. 1, 2 bounces across the ropes for 4. And